Alright, one of my subscribers asked me for a tutorial here on the Worksharp, Canadian Worksharp, with the blade grinder attachment. This is how I actually use to sharpen a lot of knives. And first off, I've got it set to a 15 degree. On the Worksharp here on the side here, you can set the different degrees all the way from 10 to 35. But I'm going to use my angle cube here to verify that that is, in fact, 15 degrees. So it's got a nice little magnetic base. And we are right at 15.1 degrees to be exact. No, there goes to 15. So verified that with the angle cube, it was at 15 degrees. I've got the P120 belt. That's the red belt. It's the coarsest belt because we are reprofiling this CRKT PLR. This has the upgraded 12C27 steel. Sandvik steel, a little bit better than 8CR13, Osate, stuff like that. So, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the Worksharp. Oh, make sure it belts all the way on. Okay, turn it on. Adjust this. So you use this little knob here to adjust that belt. So you want to pretty much center on that roller. Got the speed way up, which is way too high. Here's one of the things. How you can damage blades is by doing too high a speed. This is probably a pretty good speed here. It's not the lowest. That's the lowest speed. It's a couple turns, and there's a little knob down here that you adjust it with. But I just kind of play it by ear. When I'm using a coarser belt, I go slower speed, just to make sure. And I'm using the baseline here of some other, I use a sharpening journal, I mentioned this in my Wicked video of some 8CR13, some Osate, and then some middle finger, oops, the 3V steel on the Survive knives. So I'm going with just kind of a baseline here, like when I did the 8CR13 on the Atmos, it was about 20 passes per side. And what you do is you use this little base, it's a perfect 90-degree angle, and you just bring the knife up, and you hold it like so, and you just lightly bring it across the belt. Making sure you're not dragging the tip off, that's how you can round your tip. And if you need to like re-get your angle, you can do that every time. I find if I do it a few times, Okay, we switched to the next grip belt, which is the X65. We're going to do about 15 passes per side. Okay, well then we're going to switch from the 65 down to the 22, which I believe is this one. Yeah. Yep, X22. And we're going to do about 15 per side on this as well. Shouldn't need to adjust your speed at all. I'm going to go about 5 more passes per side on this. So I did about 20 per side on that one. I'm going to go into the X4 belt. This one here. Oh yeah, you gotta push that in. Probably do 20 on this one too. Sometimes you gotta adjust it, that little knob, so it kind of comes off the track a little bit. a pretty nice polish on there already. Alright. Last but not least is your 1200 grit belt. This guy here, essentially your strop. I do actually make strops for these now, leather strops. I need to order. I really want to see if I can get even a better polish on these edges, but I kind of crank up the speed a little bit here because you're just stropping. And this one I'm going to alternate sides. Yeah, that's about 20 per side, so 40 total passes alternating. And you get a pretty nice, you're going to be able to see that. I think it's going to pick that up very well. Pretty good polish on that edge though. Alright, we got cut off. Camera memory card was full, but got a nice sharpener edge on this guy. You'll notice that sometimes when I did the passes, you can come down here every time. Make sure you're always 90 degrees. You don't have to once you get good, used to it. But I would recommend it on the higher grit, the lower grit belts than I would the top, just to make sure that you're getting that edge uniform across both sides. I would make sure you're doing that. Other than that though, so this was a pretty extreme, really bad edge damage to this, really bad edge roll, and it took way more passes than I thought it would on the higher grit, or the lower grit, excuse me, the 120 took me way more than I thought it would for this steel. But that just goes to show, with a reprofile all the way down to 15 degrees, and I'm not sure what the factory edge was on it, I'm guessing closer to 20. That reprofile and then fixing that roll in the edge took a lot longer than normal, so that's not going to be normal. But I did write that down in my little journal. Again, I recommend you doing this, just a field notebook. That what I did end up doing 60 passes per side, which is a ton for that kind of steel. I would think that would be more like higher end steels like S35, M390 even. And then after that, I did about 15 per side and I kind of just wrote down my belt progression, and you can see how sharp it is, how well of a mirror edge it is. So pretty happy with it. That's a quick tutorial on how to use the, I shouldn't say quick, that's pretty long, tutorial on how to use the Worksharp Canyon with the blade grinder attachment. I would say a few tips. The key is to get your speed consistent. That's a little high. for, that's just because it's the strop. But I'd say about right there is a good speed. It's not too high, it's not too low. You just want to be careful with this belt. You can remove a lot of steel. But you know, don't go crazy high with the speeds. Keep it kind of lower to medium speed. You know, use an angle grinder, angle cue to make sure your angle's right. This is again 15. I measured it. And then if you need to use this guide to keep that 90 degrees, because that's really, really key. If you don't keep this at 90 and you just kind of slightly move it, it's going to screw up your whole sharpening process. So, I mean, it'll still put an edge on, but you'll have an uneven bevel. So that's pretty dang good on that one. So, I would say I'm pretty happy with the results on this, and it got crazy sharp. So I think it's a very good system. It's very easy to use. Oh, that's weird. It's just like shaving, fine shaving a second ago. There we go. I'm getting some curls. Just trying to get some curls here. Yeah, we're way sharp. If we can get paper curls like this. Yeah, that's dang sharp. So, nicely polished, sharp edge. Because you can actually get a very nice polished edge and not have sharp on your knife if you don't go through the progressions. The biggest thing is on the lower belt, you want to make sure you get that burr, and then knock off that burr by doing the same number of passes on the other side. I usually start like on a frame lock with the frame lock side up, and then I'll flip to this side, you know. But yeah, it was a little bit more challenging than it should have, I think. But I think that was due to the heavy edge damage plus the pretty extreme reprofile of 15 degrees on this one. So, alright guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.